Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 93 of a classic wrestling series. So, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of polls are going to be coming to a close in a few days' time. I will leave a link to the Twitter page if you want to check them out, and please vote because the fate of their opinion lies in your hands. But, ladies and gentlemen, episode 95 of the Classic Wrestling Series is coming up, and I did say that you guys can pick the ladder-based match that I will watch for the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are 3 matches you can pick from, and 3 pay-per-views and shows. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first choice is Dean Ambrose and AJ Styles in TLC 2016. Next up, it's CM Punk and Ryback from WWE Raw from January 7th, 2013. And there is the third option, which is Tommy Dreamer versus Just Incredible at Heatwave 2000 in the Stairway to Hell match. So, those 3 are your picks, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to vote on any of the polls that I put up, please link in the description below to the Twitter page. Check it out. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight, well, today, technically, to watch our submission-based show. Concepts in WWE can be very intriguing, ladies and gentlemen. They are also known for throwing things at the wall and hoping they stick. Well, why don't we have a look at a show that only happened one time? And our 3 main matches are all submission based. Ladies and gentlemen, it is September 13th, 2009. We are at the Bell Arena in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and we're here for Breaking Point. So, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of weird things. This is the first and only show that has Breaking Point 2009, for obvious reasons. There is the first ever submission-based match, and it's a, well, submissions count anywhere. That could be an interesting concept. We have Randy Orton versus John Cena in an I Quit match, which we've seen, we've seen John Cena and Randy Orton face off many, many times. But in our main event, we have CM Punk versus The Undertaker in a submissions match. I'm actually looking forward to this show. So, let's get off with our first contest, which is Jericho taking on MVP and Mark Henry for the Unified Tag Team titles. Let's do this. So, we just had Jericho versus Mark Henry and MVP for the Unified Tag Championships, and this was actually a good, this was a good tag match to open the show, I thought. Jericho and Big Show are heel, obviously. MVP and Mark Henry are over a bit. It's actually quite entertaining, to be fair. It was a good matchup. A wonderful way that Mark Henry was able to counter the Codebreaker, just held Jericho in the air and just threw him overhead. Beautiful move. Distraction from the referee, making sure Jericho was okay, allows Big Show to hit the knockout punch on Mark Henry, which gets the win. But this was a good match, I thought. Jericho and MVP worked well together. Big Show and Mark Henry didn't do too much in the ring, but they did well. But this is Breaking Point, and it's a pinfall in the first match. It should have been a submission, to be fair. But they did mention on commentary, because Michael Cole and Derek Kimroller are on Raw. I believe at this time it will be Jim Ross and either Mick Foley or Taz on SmackDown. The 3 main matches are submission based, but it's Breaking Point, it should be all matches. But yeah, so we've got Legacy talking about the submissions count anywhere match coming up between DX and themselves. So we'll see what our next matchup is, ladies and gentlemen. So far, yeah, entertaining, but again, should have been a submission in the opening contest. So, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologise about that. We've just had The Miz versus a Jamaican Kofi Kingston. God, I forgot Kofi Kingston did the Jamaican accent in 2009. Jesus. This was for the US title. This was another good match. Like, it's Kofi Kingston versus The Miz, so whatever's going to go down, it's a good matchup. Yeah, back and forth between the two. It was a good singles match, I gotta admit. And, Miz talking French at the beginning, basically just saying, I'm the Miz, I'm awesome and all that. No, ferme la bouche. But again, this was just a fun matchup between the two guys. And Kofi wins for Trouble in Paradise, retains, and I believe the Miz would go on to become the US champion around this time as well. So, yeah, just an entertaining matchup, and it was all good. So we'll see what our next matchup is, guys. So we just had DX versus Legacy in the Submissions Count Anywhere's match. I gotta admit, as a concept, as a first-time concept, this is a really good idea, I think. Brilliant way to start the match, though. DX is doing the old, and from Montreal, and all of a sudden, massive chants of "You screw Brett" just echo in the arena, and Hunter just goes, "I'm from Montreal, for something that happened years ago, and all I have to say about it is, it was his fault." Just points at Sean, and Sean's just going, "Zip it, shut it, zip it," and they just are like, I wasn't even in the building, wasn't it? It was all him. I thought that was funny. But yeah, this was a good matchup. Great use of the Submissions Count Anywhere. They go into the stands and then they battle into the area. It's the Bell's Arena, not the Bell Center. I thought it was the Bell Center. My apologies on that one. But this was good. They battle up top, they battle down, they battle around the ring, they battle to the back. Triple H spine busters. Ted DiBiase food catering. Fuck you, Hunter. That is perfectly good food. But yeah, the ending of the match was a figure four. Cody hit the figure four on Shawn around the ring post, and then DiBiase puts the $1 Million Dream onto Michaels, and he just taps. That is actually a really fucking creative way to win the match, I think, personally. Really cool. And it was good, as a submission-based match. It was really entertaining, and yeah, we get a decisive win, ladies and gentlemen. So we get Randy Orton talking about the I Quit match with John Cena later on tonight. Can we make it 2 for 2 with Legacy winning? We don't know, but ladies and gentlemen, we will watch our next matchup. So just before we have our next matchup, guys, Randy Orton comes out and says that he is going to win his matchup against John Cena and retain the WWE Championship, because Randy Orton is the WWE Champion at this time in the I Quit match. And I believe this is around the time that he had his explosive personality disorder, or EPS. I think it was explosive personality disorder, which is which the symptoms and the actual disorder is a real disorder, but I can't remember the actual name of it, guys. I do apologise about that. But this was a really good promo. I have to admit, Orton around this time, 2009, he was bloody good at promos. Like, he's always been okay. I feel like he's been a bit good on promos. But around this time, he was fucking brilliant, especially with Legacy as well. And also, it's kind of ironic now watching this show back, because Cody, before obviously the Submissions Count Anywhere match, he was talking, it was a build up for this match. And Cody Rhodes was talking about his legacy, and well, 10 years later, he would found and start AEW. It's nuts, ladies and gentlemen. It's mental what 10 years can do to a person. But ladies and gentlemen, we have got a Singapore Cane match, which can be won by pinfall or submissions, but Singapore Cane's illegal! Whatever a Singapore Cane match is, let's just watch it. So we just had the Great Khali versus Kane in a Singapore Cane match, and God, if I say that anymore, I'm gonna get a fucking migraine. What do you expect? This was two big men who can't really wrestle. Okay, Kane could back in the day. Wrestling in a Singapore Cane match, hitting each other with the canes, and God, my head hurts. Kane wins with a chokeslam. Thank God. It was a fun match, don't get me wrong, but still, it was okay. Then we had Punk talking about his match with The Undertaker and the recent arrest of Jeff Hardy back in 2009. His mugshot was on the internet for everyone to see. And then Jimmy Wan Yan becomes a massive dick, turns the lights off, and then turns around and goes, relax, man, just having a bit of fun with you. Also, good luck tonight and gets the shit kicked out of him because, to be honest, he kind of deserved it, the dick. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we have got ECW representation. We have Christian taking on, I believe it's either Regal or Ezekiel Jackson. I'm not entirely sure which one. Who is it? It is William Regal versus Christian for the ECW Championship. Let's watch this. So we just have William Regal versus Christian for the ECW Championship, and I gotta admit, I forget just how good Regal was when he was a competitor in the ring. He was bloody brilliant in this match, and Christian as well. I forget again just how good Christian can be too. This was a good matchup. It was back and forth between the two men. Regal managed to slip out of the kill switch a couple of times before unfortunately losing to the kill switch and the ECW Championship, because Christian retained, obviously. But this was a good matchup. Again, Regal's been the GM of NXT for the past 7 years. It's mental to think just how good Regal was in the ring for the longest time. It's the same thing as Corey Graves, because I only knew him as a commentator for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. I forget that he was actually a competitor. Did you actually know he is a former NXT Tag Team Champion with Adrian Neville, better known as Pac? Because I forgot. And I have to go back and find a show that Corey Graves wrestles on, because I really want to check him out, because I think he's a Regal type character. I think he's a bloody good wrestler, give him a chance. But ladies and gentlemen, we currently have Pat Patterson in the ring talking. For some reason, we'll find out what in a moment. But yeah, you know, it's also weird to see the Christian's wrestling as good as he did here in AEW 12 years later, because he would carry on wrestling in WWE for another few years, retire for 7, come back at the Rumble, and then join AEW, and he is just as good now as he was back then. And a lot of people do look over him. I do feel like a lot of people think he was the Jannetty to Edge's Shawn, if you understand what that means. But Edge, you know, Christian's good in his own way, ladies and gentlemen. So let's see what Pat Patterson has to say, and then I believe it's going to be the I Quit match for the WWE Championship. So let's do it. So we just had Pat Patterson talking about his career in Montreal, obviously from Montreal himself. He's going to burn out John Morrison, but Dolph Ziggler comes out. Old school Dolph Ziggler. I just want to pinch your little cheekies and make sure you're wearing your Spirit Squad outfit. Cute. But no, ladies and gentlemen, this was entertaining between the two men. Dolph isn't as comfortable on the mic as he would be later down the road. In fact, he's trying out the comedy bit now, but again, later down the road, it would be a lot better. It was entertaining, as you know, it was entertaining between Pat Patterson and Ziggler. Dolph attacks Patterson, Morrison comes out to stop it, and then that's pretty much what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the WWE Championship I Quit match between Randall Keith Orton and John Cena Jr. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've just done a little bit of research into the disorder that Randy Orton has, I think it's within the storyline, I don't know, but it is intermittent explosive disorder. So I'm just going to do a little bit of research, and then I will get back to you with that, ladies and gentlemen, before we talk about our main event for Raw. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit of the explanation to IED. Intermittent explosive disorder, sometimes abbreviated to IED, is a behavioural disorder characterized by explosive outbursts of anger and or violence. Often to the point of rage, they are disproportionate to the situation at hand, i.e. impulsive shouting, screaming, or excessive triggers by related inconsequential events. Impulsive aggression is not permitted and is defined by a disproportionate reaction to any provocation, real or perceived. Some individuals have reported affective changes prior to an outburst, such as tension, mood changes, energy changes, etc. So it is a real disorder for obvious reasons, ladies and gentlemen. And I do believe that Randy Orton may or may not suffer from this. Obviously, it was brought up in the WWE for the explanation to Randy Orton kicking Mr. McMahon's head off during the feud with Triple H leading into WrestleMania 25. So again, if he does suffer from this, then it's easily treatable and everything like that. Excuse me, but it is a story. It was in the way that the storyline was progressed. It was explained in the story as well. A lot of people, there was a doctor as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will leave a link in the description as well to the Wikipedia page, but I will also leave a link to a page from the Mayo Clinic .org in America as well, just so then you guys can read up on it if you would like to read up on it, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just watch the I Quit match for the WWE Championship. So we just had John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in an I Quit match, and I have to admit, the ending I didn't like, but the way they sold me on this match was very entertaining. Cena would be going into this match with a concussion, and Orton would play into that. Orton would be using a steel chair, the steps. He brings handcuffs out. He basically handcuffs Cena to the ropes to attack him. He handcuffs him. He actually handcuffs him and puts him on the turnbuckle to use Singapore cane, a chair. It was good. The ending, however, wasn't for me personally. Cena gets battered throughout the entire match. Then all of a sudden, literally STF with the handcuff. Even though Cena's handcuffed to Orton, he literally just wraps Orton's arm around his neck and just brings him into the STF, which I have to admit is an interesting way to finish the match. But Cena gets battered throughout the entire match, and then all of a sudden he Super Cena's himself to win the match. I didn't like that personally, but I enjoyed it really when Cena was getting the shit kicked into him, because it's legit. He was handcuffed to the turnbuckle. He was getting battered with Singapore canes, and it was torturous at some points. But the ending did bring me out a little bit. But nevertheless, Orton Cena is a good match. They will never have a bad match against each other. No matter how many times these guys have had multiple matches, they will either have good to okay. And anything else is a bonus at the end of the day. And it was, until the ending, again, it was very entertaining, very good. But Super Cena wins low. At least there was no let's go Cena sucks chance, because I hate that about Cena. Cena's a competent wrestler. I think I've said this before multiple times. I enjoy Cena when he wrestles. He's a good wrestler, personally. His mic skills are really good. He's improved from the Doctor with Thugonomics. No, I will admit, I think when he was doing the Doctor with Thugonomics, bar a few promos he used to do when, there was some risque lines, he was very good back in the day. I used to have a friend of mine where me and her used to go back and, whenever we were watching John Cena, especially when it was WrestleMania 35, 34, when it was the roller coaster, the ultimate thrill ride, we watched that show together. And when we got to this John Cena, Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice match, granted, I did go John Cena sucks, just to have some fun with her, just to have a bit of a joke with her. God rest your soul, darling. I hope you're okay. But that, between me and her, that was a bit of a joke. But I have said to her as well, John Cena's competent. He's a good wrestler. Booking wise is where he falls down a little bit, because it's WWE booking. They want him to look strong, and he's been the poster boy for WWE for multiple years. There's nothing wrong with his wrestling. Whenever they say John Cena sucks, I can't see it. It's not his fault. He is a competent wrestler. Good even. In feuds, the Orton feud, the Miz feud, the Batista feud, when he was facing the Authority, yeah, it was the Authority versus Cena, but he held his own. his acting can improve. I mean, yes, he has done more acting when he was, after WWE, and he is coming back soon, hopefully. And I'm actually supportive of that. I can't wait to see Cena come back because, let's be honest, it's John Cena. I'm entertained. At least, whenever I watch a match of his, I am entertained. I'll grant you that one, guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the World Heavyweight Championship submission match. Undertaker versus CM Punk. Do I think they're going to live up to the I Quit match? Well, it's Undertaker and it's CM Punk. It's going to take a lot to do that, but let's watch it. So guys, I just want to bring something up, something personal to me. That's why the camera's off for this. This is a ticket. You can't see it clearly, but this is a ticket to the O2 in London for WWE Raw. On Monday, the 22nd of April 2013. Entrance H, Block 419, Row J, Seat 908. This ticket allowed me to see The Undertaker's entrance live for the first and only time, and I get goosebumps every time I see The Undertaker's entrance. It was incredible when I saw that. That was the night where The Shield took on Undertaker, Kane and Daniel Bryan. I don't show this ticket too much. In fact, this is the first time I've ever shown this ticket because it's personal to me. But I always love hearing The Undertaker's music. The hairs on the back of my neck stand up every time I hear that chilling dawn. Undertaker to me is one of those wrestlers that is once in a lifetime. You barely get to experience that. People experienced Hulk Hogan. People experienced The Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage. So many legendary greats in this world. I get to experience The Undertaker at a Raw. To me, that's just as important and just as special as seeing him in a WrestleMania, to me personally. One day, down the line, I will review the 22nd of April 2013 edition of Raw, because that's a special Raw for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to share that with you guys, but we are going to be watching our main event, Undertaker Punk. Let's do this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've just had CM Punk versus Undertaker in the submission match, and this was Undertaker versus Punk. It was one of those things where it's like, is it going to be good? And it is. But, so, Undertaker originally wins with the Hell's Gate submission hold, and everybody's cheering and like, yay, Undertaker wins! Then Teddy Long comes out and says, actually the Hell's Gate submission move was banned on SmackDown, and unfortunately that still remains, so the match has to be continued, which is fair enough. Fans are pissed, obviously. But then the screw job happens in Montreal again when Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice. Undertaker doesn't tap out, he doesn't submit, and all of a sudden, ding 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 ding, and the fans shit on it. Like literally, the fans have shat on this main event. I mean, it was an okay pay-per-view until this finish. Holy crap, this was bad. The finish was bad. But it's one of those things, ladies and gentlemen, Vince always loves to fuck Montreal over. Like, legit. So, ladies and gentlemen, what did I think of Breaking Point? As a concept, it's a good idea. But there was pinfall matches. And it's Breaking Point. They should be submission matches. Or at least have a submission leading to the finish. There wasn't at all. In like the majority of the matches, only 3 of them were the submissions count anywhere match, the I Quit match, which technically did have a submission as the finish, and this. So it's a bit bad. I mean, we haven't seen one since, but as a concept, yeah, I like the concept. I think it's a good idea as a pay-per-view to have submissions only matches. We rarely see submission matches nowadays, so it's actually a really cool cool idea. Or submission-based pay-per-view, we don't see that often. So yeah, very entertaining. Best match of the night, I kind of have to give it to the I Quit match. Cena versus Orton. I think that was a damn fine submission match. And the worst match, amazingly, it's not the Punk Undertaker match. That belongs to the Singapore Kane match between Carly and Kane, because that was just awful. Was not needed. Could have been on ECW or SmackDown, to be honest with you guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching episode 93 of the Classic Wrestling series. Like I say, links in the description below to the Twitter page, links in the description for the intimate I can't remember what it's called now. The articles on the intermittent explosive disorder, if you want to read up on that, guys. I will see you on Saturday night, Sunday morning for AEW Dynamite, and I will leave an extra link in the description below to the poll for the ladder match based pay-per-view you want me to review, guys. So, apologies about that, guys. So, like I was saying, the poll, ladies and gentlemen. So, your choices are Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles at TLC 2016, Punk versus Ryback on Raw from 2013, I want to say. I believe it's 2013. Yes, January 7th, 2013. Stairway to Hell, which is Tommy Dreamer and Just Incredible at Heatwave 2000 for ECW. And if you want to put your own suggestion, guys, I've left the options in the description below. All you have to do is click over and comment below. So, thank you very much for watching. I will see you for AEW Dynamite on Sunday morning, and I will see you for the CWS next week. TTFN, guys. Ta-ta for now.